The Australian curricula demonstrates aims to teach students how to analyse, understand and communicate with the world around them. However, the curricula have received much scrutiny for their ability, or lack thereof, to grow critical thinking skills within students. With the emergence of instant technology such as mobiles, laptops, tablets, and the internet, and subsequently heavy saturation of media outlets, it's crucial that students are able to put on their thinking caps and critically assess the qualities of various media with which they are presented. With critical thinking, one can properly analyze and evaluate the content that they're absorbing to make well-informed judgments. With this comes the question: is critical thinking adequately facilitated in education, and how valuable is this in our interpretation of media? Remember back in the days when your teacher told you to put on your thinking caps? I guess that they wanted you to do so that your thinking strategies can gradually develop into more critical thinking. But let's be honest here, this is a very implicit and ineffective way to promote critical thinking, as students were expected to analyze and think logically, but often deprived of the explicit articulation of what intellectual standards were wanted to meet. Critical thinking skills involve students learning how to develop and argue based on evidence and logical problem solving. Critical thinking is what helps us filter through the information that is presented to us and make educated decisions and judgments towards it. Students who are educated to think critically should demonstrate the ability to think independently and compare and correlate information to reveal the validity and reliability of the argument. This capacity is crucial for understanding the world and media. Though these are clear benefits for a student, the curriculum as it stands does not facilitate effective development of these skills in ways that are applicable to everyday life. The few areas in which ghosts of critical thinking appear are taught in ways to make critical thinking seem exclusive to the school environment. Analyzing Shakespeare doesn't feel the same as analyzing a news article, even though the language can be just as confusing. Often students feel that this kind of analysis and meaning-making in language is relevant only to academic studies, but it's vital in digesting a variety of media we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Ultimately, critical thinking is not explicitly taught in relevant and applicable ways, which in turn can lead to unmotivated and uninformed judgments of information, mostly viewed through media. We've been told about the number of hours people spend on technology such as watching TV, listening to music, and hours spent on computers. In modern society, young people are now dependent on information through media. Due to this, especially in the political perspective, they use media to present information about issues, events, and news. People tend to feed into and interpret according how the media presents an issue, when in fact the reality we see on the media is what Woznok calls a constructed reality. Individuals need to be able to develop skills of interpreting text in order to differentiate between reality and textual versions of reality. In order to attain skills to understand and integrate sources of knowledge displayed through the media, critical thinking skills play a crucial role. Tate states that the benefits of critical thinking within media studies can be reflected in subjects such as English, in which students are able to decipher news messages and appreciate how people receive and interpret news. Tate's opinion of enabling critical thinking to be incorporated in all subjects reflects how valuable critical thinking is towards students' interpretation of media. The necessity for critical thinking can be purely observed in the statement of Tate's second myth. With the news media, you don't need to think, you just need to read and listen. Essentially, you should follow the herd. The lack of critical thinking within Australian curricula is evident in people's attitudes towards media consumption, neglecting to address its biases. From this, the clear significance of critical media interpretation is highlighted as students misinterpret media and are unable to analyze news and then make, let's say uneducated judgments, which affect their perception of the world. Overall, we believe that critical thinking can be better supported in simple ways such as encouraging the analysis of media articles and publications in subjects such as English, legal studies, and history. Critical thinking is a doorway from a world of black and white to a technicolored one. Students with critical thinking abilities are enabled to bring forth valuable and individual perspectives. With the amount of media being bombarded on a day-to-day basis, it is crucial that we find a way to encourage critical evaluation and scrutiny in combat to the risk of allowing younger generations to fall victim to the biases and ulterior motives of media publications today.